So this person said that Nimrod is Gilgamesh and Marduk is Nimrod, which means Marduk would be Gilgamesh. Unfortunately, I did try and explain this already to this person, but they then wrote this again, which is really sad. They obviously haven't done any research. So in the Epic of Gilgamesh, it explains that Gilgamesh's mother was Anunnaki and his father was human. That's why he went on the journey to try and get to Nibiru in order to have long life like his mother, as opposed to short life like his father. Whereas Marduk, we know his his father is Enki. That's actually written absolutely all over the place. So they cannot be the same. Also, the time differences as well. So yeah, if anyone's interested, I am the foremost expert in this field. So feel free to follow and learn.
If God was mad at the world, why would he tell Noah to build a big boat? Why not just make everybody die?
Because there was two gods. One was ENlil and one was Enki. ENlil was the one that wanted the flood to happen, and Enki was the one that tried to stop the flood and told Ziusudra, which was Noah. Luckily, we've got all the tablets that predate the Bible. Don't forget the Bible did copy the older tablets, and the older tablets have the Anunnaki's race name, again predating the Bible, as gods. We're humans, they were gods, not a problem. So religious people like the person on this video doesn't quite grasp the fact that there was actually more than one God. In fact, if you go back to the original Bible, such as Young's literal translation, where it isn't changed like all the other stupid versions, you have gods preparing heaven and earth, whereas all the other stupid versions have been changed to God created heaven and earth. So straight away he's starting off on a premise that God was real, which it's not. Anunnaki were real. This might blow your mind and you might want to share this video. Just bear with me. So the Great Flood actually happened and the boat was a coracle boat. It was basically like a squashed football. And we know that because the British Museum head curator Irving Finkel actually has the tablet, and it's in the British Museum, and there's a lecture for it. But that's not what's going to blow your mind. What's going to blow your mind is Alex Thomas of Oxford University said that around 14,600 years ago, an ice shelf broke off at Antarctica and slid into the ocean, creating a tsunami. So that was where the Great Flood is. Now, however, he's got his dates wrong. It's technically 12,000 years BC. And if you watch any of my videos, you know why. But I'm now going to play you an audio file from a video that I've done called The Great Flood. You can actually get to this video from my website, outtruehistory.co.uk, and just type in Great Flood. And then scroll down until you come to this particular video, The Great Flood, All You Need to Know. So have a listen to this and you will see that the ice shelf is correct, and it was all to do with the Anunnaki, which is our alien fathers, our Father who art in heaven, the Anunnaki. And here you're going to listen to a translation by the Moorhens from tablets in the Columbia University about what actually happened in the Great Flood. So here we go, listen to this.
The heavens as a star for several nights before the catastrophe. There was darkness during the day, and the moon was consumed by a monster at night. The earth began to tremble because of an unknown force. In the light of dawn, a dark cloud appeared on the horizon. The light of the morning faded as if death's shadow had been concealed. Then there was a thunderclap, and lightning illuminated the sky. Depart, depart. Utu gave Anunnaki the signal. The Anunnaki were elevated to the heavens while crouched in the heavenly ships.
Space, heaven.
The bright eruptions of Ninagal could be seen from 18 leagues away in Shurubak. But not closure of the hatch, Ninagal yelled towards Ziusudra. They lowered the trapdoor concealed by the hatch. The boat was completely enclosed and watertight, but a ray of light was able to penetrate the interior. That unforgettable day, the deluge began with a roar. The Earth's foundation shook in the white land at the Earth's center. The ice sheet then slid off its foundations with the sound of 1,000 thunderclaps. It was drawn away by Nibiru's unseen net force and crashed into the South Sea.
So there you go. So basically what happened was, exactly as this guy in Oxford University has worked out, an ice shelf got broken off because Nibiru, their planet, came round and was close to Earth, and that's what happened. And they knew that would happen. That's why Enki told Ziusudra, which was Noah, Enki tells him, and that's in the tablets in the British Museum. So you can forget all this God business about God being happy and God being sad. In fact, you can actually, if you watch this documentary, you'll find that ENlil was the one that wanted us to perish, whereas Enki didn't. And I show all the evidence, as always, on all my videos. So if you're interested in the Great Flood, learning more about everything, including further on where we actually show the evidence that the actual flood definitely did happen, and so on, ignore that. That's where the people seem to think that that's me saying it was. People think that the boat looks like that, which it doesn't. It's actually a coracle shape. But this whole video goes through evidences that the actual flood happened as well. So it's an hour-long documentary. So yeah, enjoy. I might have been right after all. So the orb, or the light energy being, or the spirit, whatever you want to call it, that joins with our pineal gland in our brain 3 to 4 months while we're in the mother's womb, that orb stroke ghost, also when you die you're connected with it, doesn't like sunlight. I've been saying that for a very long time. Anyway, it turns out, I've just been doing some checking, it turns out that photons do affect plasma. So most people seem to agree that orbs are actually made of plasma. Now plasma actually also can be alive. Go look that up. Now if you used to have seances, you used to have red light, which means you would be able to communicate with the spirits better than having a white light. So in other words, the white light frequency, as I was just trying to explain here with neutrons, etc., cause the plasma orb to not be able to. That's why you have ghosts at night. They don't like sun. Amazing news, everyone. This person said that the sun is localized and clouds go behind it. I asked for evidence of, any pilot that went behind the sun, because obviously clouds are actually lower than planes can go. In other words, a plane can go behind the sun. So I just said, could you name one person? And obviously this person then swore at me and stuff. And then I still said, I'm still waiting. And then he wrote this message. There's evidence all over the internet. So I'm just asking you, don't make me go anywhere else. Give me a name of one pilot that went behind the sun. Because if you say the sun is localized, which you did, and you say the clouds are behind the sun, I want that name. I want it now. And when you realise you can't do it, A, don't be rude and swear at me, and B, stop putting those laughing faces, because unfortunately everyone's probably laughing at you. Giant petrified trees. I'm actually doing a deep dive into whether or not, for example, the Devil's Tower is a petrified tree. Unlike other people, my research is second to none without sounding rude, and trust me, when you watch this new video that I'm doing, I have come up with things that no one else has thought of. So, yes, I know I'm self-praised, but just wait, because originally I was on the fence saying, no, I don't think that they were trees. However, using my own research skills, I'm just going to leave it as wait till you see the video. I thought I'd put the list of questions here that I'd ask a spirit or ghost. You might find them interesting. About the universe and time. Can you move through time, forwards and backwards? Can you visit anywhere, even if it's the end of the universe? Is there an end to the universe? How was the universe formed? Will the universe end and then restart over again, repeating everything? About spirits and orbs. Are you bound by any laws or rules on the other side? Are you joined with an entity? How long has the orb entity been around in the universe? Are you scared of the orb entity taking control and you never being around anymore? Can an orb entity be transferred from one person to another? Will a transfer of an orb entity allow the person to access the memories in the orb more easily? What is the orb entity's job with each person? Is there just one type of orb entity? Are there any orb entities that want to harm humans? Are you at war with the other types of orb entities? Are the orb entities eternal? Can you choose when the orb entity crosses over again? Does the orb entity learn and progress higher? Does the orb entity choose who the next person it connects with? Is there a council of orbs that the orb must see before joining with the next person to get information about the person it's joining with? Can the orb entity join with aliens? Can the orb entity join with animals? About spirits and humans. Are humans born with a spirit? How many spirits are there per person? Do you cross over again? When you cross over, are you just a memory in the entity? Do you feel emotions? Do you have regrets? Where do you stay? Are you there with other spirits? Can you manifest items or objects on the spirit side? Is any human judged when they die? Do the orb entities get judged? Is there a soul group? How many are in the soul group? Interaction with humans. Are you able to harm a living person? Are you able to kill a living person? Will humans in the future create technology to talk directly to spirits or loved ones that have died? Will humans in the future create technology to talk directly to the orb entity? To find more videos, please visit ourtruehistory.co.uk. Anunnaki from Sirius or Orion? Not so much. Have a listen to this.
Sacred Egyptian writings. The pyramid text described the ancient Egyptian gods as extraterrestrials coming and going from two places, Sirius and Orion.
Actually, it doesn't. Although the translations does give the impression that it comes from Orion, etc., when you actually dig very, very deep like I do, turns out the translations from SAH, people believe is Orion. There is no actual direct evidence that SAH is Orion. So therefore, the translations of the ancient, what they call pyramid texts, which are not really pyramid texts, is nothing to do with Orion other than what people translated it to be, but there is no connection. It's just an assumption. Why do I bother? Have you heard about Stonehenge that's under Lake Michigan? People seem to think it's around 10,000 years old or possibly older. So it doesn't have the top pillars that Stonehenge has, but obviously they could have came off. It is in a complete circle, and as you can see in the background there. Now, if you're interested in finding out why that's there and why Stonehenge is where it is and why Adam's calendar is where it is, I have actually worked it all out. I've done a video which solves why Stonehenge is there. And funny enough, yes, it's to do with mining, and yes, there were ancient mines right near here. So again, it just solidifies all my evidence in this video. If you're interested, all you have to do is just go to ourtruehistory.co.uk, scroll down until you get to the one that says Stonehenge solved, and you can sit and watch that video with evidence as always.
It says that human beings, or man, Adapa was created to be even higher.
There's a few problems with what Billy's saying. He's saying that the Anunnaki wanted to deliberately create a smarter race than them, which is not actually the case. So Billy's referring to the Adapa story, which you know as Adam and Eve. Now, Enki, which was one of the Anunnaki, had relationships with a human woman, a Homo sapien woman. Now, that Homo sapien woman gave birth to Adapa, you know him as Adam, and he was the first Homo sapien, the more modern human. So in the actual translations of the Adapa story, Enki's surprised that his offspring, because he had relationships with a Homo sapien, he's surprised that that offspring is actually more smarter than the Homo sapiens. So in other words, the modern humans, Homo sapiens sapiens, because they were physically bred with, in other words, proper babies, not genetically modified. So in the actual video that Billy's referring to, he's talking about the Anunnaki wanting to create us smarter. Now, I would ask Billy for the evidence for this, not pointing me to the Adapa story, which is literally just saying where Enki's surprised that one of them's more, Adam's more smarter than the Homo sapiens originally. So I think what's the problems here is Billy's assumed that Adapa was the very first person, which it wasn't. Adapa was the son of a Homo sapien who was a descendant way back from the original first Homo sapien, which would have been called Adamu. So well, you can go look this up in the translations by the Moorhens, that the tablets are owned by the Rothschilds, they're in the Columbia University. So I think Billy's unfortunately got the wrong end of the stick to start with, but I would ask Billy, regardless of for the evidence that the Anunnaki wanted to create a smarter race. I've never read that anywhere, so I would love to read that the Anunnaki would want to create a smarter race than them. That doesn't make sense on anyone's book. No one would want to create a smarter race. But regardless of whether I think that's stupid or not, I would like to see the evidence that the Anunnaki wanted to. So Billy, if you're listening, no hate, just asking for evidence. Could you, when you say things, you've really got to be able to back it up. Could you show me the evidence, please, that the Anunnaki wanted to create a smarter race than them? Repeat after me. An incantation is not what you think. It's supposed to be a ritualistic series of words or phrases spoken with the intent of invoking a supernatural entity, blessing, or magical effect. However, if you actually go with this translation here of an incantation against toothache from the Cuneiform Parallels written in 1912 from Sumerian tablets, the translations, basically when you get down to the bottom, what you actually find is it says it's an incantation, but really what it is just a prescription. And it says, repeat therein the incantation thrice, 3 times. In other words, make sure, because there was a toothache, make sure the mixed beer, the plant, blah, 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 and oil are mixed together. And then take that 3 times on the root. So incantation has now been totally changed to just a prescription. Feel free to follow and learn a hell of a lot more from. If only there was a book for children that actually gave the real information of what happened in our past. Luckily, literally just been released a new book, children's book called Our True History. We have evidence our history is not what we are told, and in fact in each page it actually has at the bottom links to show where the evidence is, and it talks about the Anunnaki, the alien race that came here. So that's now on Amazon. All you have to do is just type in Our True History and you will find the book in your country, .uk.com, wherever it's from. So if you want, you can go with these versions, which have zero evidence, obviously, because the Bible is a copy of the older text, or you can go with this, which actually shows what happened and shows the evidence as well. So your choice if you want to let your kids believe in this kind of stuff. With the boat was a coracle boat. We've got the actual tablet in the British Museum. It's not like that. Anyway, Our True History.